Cleveland Browns head coach Todd Monken was on with Kevin Clark on ESPN NFL, and he had some things to say about Shedeur Sanders, and he was talking about mostly his potential, and he had some other things on how he was going to handle the Browns and different things. So let's take a listen to Todd Monken on what he thinks about Shedeur Sanders and his potential.
Just for big picture on Shedeur, just year one, just what you see on film.
I think you see playmaking ability. I think you see a player that is confident in his skill set. So when you see that playmaking ability and inner confidence, you say, okay, there's something to work with there. So that I think that's the thing that excites you. I said it this morning that 15 or 20 years ago, they would have said that Shedeur Sanders was athletic. They would have said he could escape. Well, the game's changed so much to now he's not a mobile quarterback. No, he's mobile. He's just not as mobile as what we've come to. We've come to where Lamar Jackson or the quickness that these players have, their escapability is completely changed from when it was. But I do think what you see on tape are those aspects. A very young player that really didn't grow up in a pro-style offense. It's not his fault. That's okay. I was at Oklahoma State with Brandon Weeden, and we were air raid, and he got drafted here. He didn't grow up in that. That's not their fault. Now it's going to be our fault if we can't develop them. Then it's our fault. It's our job is to develop all the players that show up in the building and try to get the best out of all of them, create the best version of them.
All right, rapid fire.
I love how he said that it's his job to develop them, and that's what I'm looking forward to. I want to see the change from Shedeur from last year under Kevin Stefanski and how he looks this year under Todd Monken. And he talked about his offense on how it's going to look. Let's take a listen to him talking about his offense.
Browns fans are trying to get a handle on the Todd Monken offense. What do you call it? How do you say what do you say your philosophy is right now? And obviously it's going to differ from year to year, and things change and defenses evolve. Like in 2026, your broadly speaking offensive philosophy is what?
Well, I think you have to mold and adapt to who you have. If you said what really is a core belief is that our physicality, our effort and execution ought to pop off the tape. If you just said just holistically what you want it to look like, it ought to start with that. That is a core principle that is set in stone. Your methods are not. How you go about that are in sand, and they change and they evolve, and you adapt on a yearly basis, not only by the players that you have, but by how there are changes in football.
I love how he keeps saying adapt to the players that you have, instead of trying to put the players in a box, man, and not let them be free. You can adapt to their strengths. So I love how he keeps saying that. So I know he mean it.
What a philosophy would have been for Chuck Knox 40 years ago with Seattle, ground Chuck, and running the football, and how the game has changed. Just look at every sport. Just look at basketball and the three-point shot and how that's changed, where they said 12 years ago that Golden State could never win a championship being a jump shooting team. And now everybody shoots threes like it's a ping pong game. I mean, it's crazy. And then baseball launch angle. And, OPS is the major driving stat. When I was a kid, if you struck out, you did laps. You took extra BP. Now you're not as good a hitter if you don't strike out. You need to, have a launch angle and hit for power and drive runners in. And so it's so different. The game is always evolving, but there are certain core principles, certain beliefs that you cannot waver on.
Talking about evolving with what he got, making the changes, adapting, basically, fitting the mold of his players. And he also talked about what you'll see different between, well, he was asked, what will you see difference between now and what was last year? And he answered that.
looking at the 2026 Browns, what do you think the biggest difference would be the fans will see from 2025 to 2026 with Todd Monken and then the guys you have going forward, your core, all that?
What would they see different?
Well, just like what are the 2026 Browns going to look like? I know that's a hard question to answer.
Well, it's
in
like
March.
I said, I mean, obviously, as I really it kind of falls into what I said earlier, which is more along the lines of your physicality, your effort, and your execution pop off the tape, because that has nothing to do with what scheme you run. That's just a core principle of, like, the way I like to say it is, as much as I love winning and I hate losing, I despise football. Like, absolutely despise that it doesn't look like you want it to look like. Like, where it's just like you got 10 on the field, you got 12, you're up against the clock, you don't have effort that you look for. It doesn't even look like you've practiced. Sorry, you can bleep that out.
Please,
but it's like,
no, we're good here.
But it's like, there's nothing worse than that, than having it, because it's a reflection of you. That is you out there. I said that and I stole it from other people, but I said that in my press conference, man. When Jimmy and Dee sign my check with my name on it, sign a check with my name on it, they expect a kick-ass football team. And my job is to prove them right every day. I mean, that's when I got paid at the last place I was at, and they expected a kick-ass offense. And that was my job to try and prove that every day. That's what a player's job is. When they sign a check with their name on it, it's their job to prove it every day, just like all of us. That's our job.
Give me a guy just studying the film, having not gotten.
I love how his whole mindset, like he said, physicality and effort. He wants that to pop off the tape, pop off the page. And he talked about Shedeur's playmaking ability and, how he handles and how he's going to try to develop Shedeur. So it's definitely exciting to see a coach that is really into it. And I'm very excited, man. I can't wait to see what they do with Shedeur. We don't know. What we look at it right now, it's all even, mano y mano, and we're gonna see who comes out of the pack. Let me know what you guys think, man. Todd Monken came out, talked about Shedeur Sanders' potential. Let me know what you caught out of it. It's a 20-minute interview, so couldn't do it all, but I wanted to get a little bit of the tidbits about how he's going to run his offense, what type of team he's going to try to present, and what he thought about Shedeur Sanders. Appreciate y'all. Let me know in the comments what you think. See you in the next video.